In the United States, we are allowed rights. We are allowed free speech, freedom of and from religion, our Miranda rights, and more. Technically, we're allowed to do whatever we want in this country as long as it doesn't harm others. We are bound to these rights so we can choose what we want to do with our lives. But what about deciding how we want our life to end? I would like to talk about assisted suicide. Why? Why do I want to talk about it? Because it is a topic heavily discussed and exercised for decades and is highly controversial. But why is it controversial? One of the arguments that is against assisted suicide is that as doctors and physicians give it the term euthanasia, but euthanasia carries a negative outlook to some. People feel as if it to be the same as murder. For others, they see it as the act of putting someone to death painlessly. It allows a person with no chance of life to end their suffering in a quick and peaceful way. Another argument that is against assisted suicide is a terminally ill patient, while given no chance to get better or to survive their illness, can possibly survive. While this is true, and it has happened many times in the world, you see a cancer patient who has given only so much life to live, and they're still living 10 years later with a family and kids. That does happen. Those are miracles, and that's great. But most of the time, it doesn't. Forcing someone to stay alive while the disease slowly kills them, just because of that slight chance of surviving, is seen as morally wrong. One of the most used arguments that I see is that it goes against the Word of God. It also goes against the Fifth Amendment, thou shalt not kill, meaning thou shalt not kill thy neighbor or thyself. People believe that it shatters the fundamental principles of natural law. Those are their stances on the subject. My stance is that I am for assisted suicide. You're probably wondering, why does she care so much? What does she have to do with this? Why is she even talking about it? My reason for talking about this is because my mother's first husband was diagnosed with AIDS at a time when it was untreatable and uncurable. He was dying slowly, his organs were failing, and he was at a point where all he could do was moan in agony. He knew that he had no chance of survival, and he accepted that he would die eventually. So, he decided to request for physician-assisted suicide before it was too late. The doctor agreed, and when the date came, she gave him an overdose of potassium so it was undetected, and he died quietly and peacefully with a sense of dignity. What the doctor did was illegal, but she did it anyway, so that way he wouldn't have to suffer through the pain. That is the reason why this is important to me. Because of terminally ill patients suffering slowly, knowing that they will die, allowing them a way out, allowing them for a peaceful way out, allowing them to control their lives, their last aspect of their life while their disease takes over their body. Esther de la Tour says in The Right to Assisted Suicide is, but after studying both sides of the issue, a compassionate individual must conclude that competent terminal patients should be given the right to assisted suicide in order to end their suffering, reduce the damaging financial effects of hospital care on their families, and preserve the individual right of the people and determine their own fate. I support assisted suicide and believe that it should be legal in the United States for 3 reasons. Because it allows a terminally ill patient with no chance of survival an effective way of ending their suffering. I believe that it is our right to decide how we die, how and when. And while putting down a human is unthinkable to us, we put down animals every single day for even the smaller reasons. Andrew Duggan says in Gallup News, in U.S. support for doctor-assisted suicide is up. He says, 68% of the American population support euthanasia, and nearly 7 out of 10 Americans say doctors should be legally allowed to assist terminally ill patients in committing suicide. In this chart, it shows in the blue states, the states that allow and that are legal for assisted suicide, the blue ones. And that includes California, Maine, and North Dakota. In the red states, it does not allow it. And the yellow states are the ones that are half and half. They haven't decided an option on it. This is increasing through over the years, whereas it is still a very controversial topic in the US. My first reasoning for accepting and wanting assisted suicide to be legal in the United States is that it would end a patient's suffering. Would you want to force a patient to stay alive just so that the disease can eventually kill them? Many patients like this include late-stage cancer, Alzheimer's, and ALS. Assisted suicide gives the patient control when they have no control over what's left of their body. I believe that as long as there is solid proof in the patient requesting and accepting to go under assisted suicide, that it should be legal, and they should be able to end their life and live their last moments with dignity. I believe that we should allow to request for assisted suicide as long as we are completely capable to do it, to request for it, and show proof that that is what we want. My second reason is because I believe that it is a right. I believe that it is our right to go under assisted suicide. It is our own body, and we should be allowed to do whatever we want to do with it, even if not everyone agrees with it. For example, say someone gets a tattoo. Someone might not like that. Why would that stop someone or make it illegal to get a tattoo? It's your own body, and you can do whatever you want with it. That is how I see it on assisted suicide. It is your own body, and if you want to, you can. My third reason is putting down pets every single day. I wish we shared the same compassion that we do with our pets. But I question, why is it appropriate to put an animal down for the smallest reasons when it is completely unthinkable to put down a human being? People put down their pets because they can't take care of them. They put down their pets because they can't afford them anymore or afford the medication or the surgeries. They put them down just for that. Whereas with the human, they wouldn't do that. They would let them suffer in agony until the disease killed them. I believe that there should be a way out for humans, just like we give animals a way out. And if we can do this for our pets, I believe that we should be able to show the same compassion for our beloved humans. Physician-assisted suicide should become legal in the United States because a terminally ill patient should have the right to decide how they die, and it would allow them a quick and painless way of ending their suffering. A patient should be given the right to die while they are still themselves before the illness makes them unable to accept assisted suicide. No one wants to die a slow death or die because they became dehumanized by a disease. A person wants to die thinking of the people that they love and all the things that they appreciate in life, including the right to end their life as the person they were before it became too late. Thank you.